Welcome back. A top focus also the politics that is being played out back home after that massive diplomatic triumph that we saw in Houston. In the presence of President Trump, Prime Minister Narendra Modi did send out a strong message to Pakistan saying that it is after all Pakistan that has been harboring terror. But this is something that has not gone down well even with opposition parties. They seem to have not learned their lesson. They're still criticizing Prime Minister Modi despite that spectacular Howdy Modi show. It has basically Congress and left, they seem to be worried, perturbed by what really transpired, raising questions about the fact that perhaps it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi endorsing President Trump. It appears that the opposition parties really did not listen in to the speech that was made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It wasn't really endorsing President Trump, but however, this is exactly what the opposition parties believe. Listen in to what the Congress and the left had to say.
Time-honored convention in our foreign policy engagements that India does not meddle in domestic electoral politics, nor does the Prime Minister of India or the President of India, while visiting a country, take partisan positions which is seen as endorsing one political party or leader. Prime Minister should have respected that. It was very disturbing to see that the Prime Minister was openly exhorting and raising the slogan, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar." That was better avoided. Because we have engaged with any US administration, whether Democrats or Republicans, without making any differentiation. Because it's a relationship between two strategic partners which we deeply value.
Any Indian Prime Minister going abroad and meeting the non-resident Indians who left our country and are living there, meeting them, there is no objection to that at all, ever. But going to a different country and participating in an election campaign virtually and doing propaganda for XYZ, that is something which we don't allow in India. In India, we don't allow any foreigner to come and participate in our election campaigns. The same thing is being done by Indian Prime Minister there, which he'll have to, and giving the slogan. He virtually gave the same slogan he gives in India, saying, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar."
Well, it appears that the opposition parties really did not listen to what Prime Minister Modi had to say. It wasn't really endorsing President Trump. He was basically invoking what President Trump had to say when it comes to the tagline, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar." Now, going across to our executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, once again, the opposition parties seem to have run out of idea. Now, it is the buzz that has been created that we have seen, be it the Madison Square Garden or for that matter now in Houston. The buzz is always created. It is the right messaging that we are seeing. It is a diplomatic triumph. When did we see a US president going to an event that was organized essentially by an Indian diaspora, there standing and making that speech, rather than actually perhaps hailing the Texas India Forum as well as Indian government for this diplomatic triumph? You're looking at the opposition parties questioning Prime Minister Modi once again.
Shavan, you picked it up absolutely rightly. It was anything but endorsement by Prime Minister Modi. He was only, while introducing President Trump, connecting the candidate Trump's slogan with his presidency. And obviously, the fact that "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar" is basically a pickup line from Prime Minister Modi's campaign of 2014, "Ab ki baar Modi Sarkar." So he was in a way trying to connect. And, when introductions like these happen, a bit of hyperbole is allowed. And I think the Prime Minister used just that. What the opposition is doing is trying to make it a foreign policy issue, which was not the case. I think Prime Minister was feeding President Trump because he has gone out of the way to travel all the way to Houston to be part of this Indian-American community event. This is never before a precedent in history that an American president has participated in this manner. So if the President of the United States breaks protocol, as host, Prime Minister was being just gracious. So I think opposition is right in saying that we shouldn't be meddling in the internal affairs of any nation. But I don't think that Prime Minister Modi had any intention of that kind.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek, for putting this in perspective. As rightly pointed out by Abhishek, that this perhaps was no attempt that was made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to meddle into US politics, but something that perhaps the opposition parties really haven't heard, or they did not listen closely what Prime Minister Modi had to say. Remember that strong message that Prime Minister Narendra Modi sent out, making Pakistan certainly nervous. In the presence of President Trump, Prime Minister Narendra Modi actually had to say that when it comes to 26/11, or for that matter 9/11, it is, after all, the perpetrators are always found from the same country. Without naming Pakistan, without naming Imran Khan, he sent out that message. It was a 6 out of that stadium.